Tuberculosis is caused by bacteria that most often affect the lungs, and while it is curable and preventable, it can be easily spread from person to person through the air. When people with lung tuberculosis cough, sneeze or spit, they propel the TB germs into the air. According to PAHO WHO's representative in Guyana, Dr. William Aducro, it is unfortunate that all health authorities combined have not been able to conquer TB despite efforts thus far. So can you tell me, when did tuberculosis become a major concern for PAHO WHO?
If you look at the religious books, they talk about tuberculosis, most of them talk about tuberculosis. So TB has been with us for a very long time. It's unfortunate that we have not been able to conquer TB simply because it takes a long time to treat.
Dr. Aducro explained that when someone is infected and put on medication, it takes at least a month of treatment for the person to no longer be able to transfer the TB germs to another individual.
However, as a result of that, it is difficult to keep someone in treatment for that length of time. For instance, the medicines that we've been using, the earlier ones took 2 years to treat someone fully. Now, during that 2 years, you need that person's attention. You need the person not to miss their medications. And it's so difficult.
He stated that in recent years in Guyana, the Direct Observed Therapy Short Course Strategy (DOTS) program was successful to an extent in ensuring that persons were literally in front of TB patients, making sure they took their tablets, but this still posed challenges. Dr. Aducro said that on the bright side, there are new medications, if adopted, that will cut down the treatment phase to about 9 months.
And I think that's the way to go. Some of them are more expensive, but the government is on board to make sure that that becomes part of our regime. Staff are being trained on the new regime so that we can lower that to a minimum. The other problem that we have with TB is someone comes for treatment and you tell them, okay, we are giving you 3 months supply. Come back in 3 months and then you don't see them. It's a big challenge trying to follow the persons up. Persons move so much between one place and another. You go to the address they gave you and they are not there.
The PAHO WHO representative in Guyana also acknowledged that while major challenges still exist in combating and eventually eradicating TB in Guyana, a lot of inroads are being made in this regard.
I think we need to make sure that even though Guyana, we have it under control, we need to make sure that we don't have new cases, because there's the new cases that also will infect other new cases. In fact, in some studies they said one case can infect 10 people. So if you have 10 people, you have 100 persons at risk, and that is a real challenge.
In 2017, PAHO WHO, they literally estimated about 50,000 persons in the Americas having TB, many of whom did not even know they contracted it. But there's still high levels of prevalence or incidence in Guyana. So even though there's been a decline, what can you say about this now in terms of Guyana and the citizens out there?
I think Guyana, like I said, we are doing well. Case fatality, that's persons who have TB who die, has reduced immensely.
Dr. Aducro added that TB today remains an epidemic in much of the world, mostly in developing countries, but that if persons in Guyana are more health conscious, they will be able to protect themselves and their loved ones from this killer disease.
TB is treatable, and the fact that it's treatable means if you find it early, you can solve it and lead a profitable, viable life. And that's the way to go. Once you are found out, also make sure that you continue your medication. There are other aspects that I think all family members need to be aware of, that a TB patient needs to be taken care of. So in terms of nutrition, has to eat to be able to take their medicines. So you cannot leave them alone and then they have nothing to eat. They will stop taking the medicine and infect others within the community.
Reporting for HGP Nightly News, I am Kristen Macklingam.